This is Good Morning San Diego.
The new year is bringing new employment laws as well as a minimum wage increase here in the state of California. Joining us to talk more about this is the person who knows all about it, Employment Attorney Annie Ellis. Annie, long time no chat. How are you, my friend?
I know. Things are always good on the employment law front when we're not talking, right? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. We have much to discuss, so please, let's get right to it. Minimum wage. Can you explain to me the disconnect between the federal minimum wage and the state of California minimum wage? Man, it's a significant difference, isn't it?
Well, that's a whole hour program right there for that. But, you know, the federal minimum wage has been $7.25 for, I don't know, almost 20 years at this point. The state of California and its local cities like San Diego, we raise the rate every year. So we've got in San Diego taking effect yesterday, $16.85, which is huge. It's not the highest in the state, but it's getting up there. And then the state being $16 an hour. There is no exception for minors or anything like that. That is the bottom line minimum wage that has to be paid. But what I think is catching more headlines is the salary. So the minimum salary for anyone who isn't paid by the hour, that is now a whopping $66,560, which is almost double the federal requirement. That I think is going to impact a lot of businesses this year.
Yeah, if you're a small, how do you handle that? I mean, do you have to make everybody hourly? I mean, I get, you know, the state of California saying, well, it's very expensive to live here, so we have to increase everybody's salary. But isn't all that does is drive up the cost of living in California? It's a never-ending cycle, is it not?
It is. It's a catch-22. It's okay, you know, you need a COLA or cost of living increase, and then, you know, suddenly the state raises the minimum wage again, and here we are going around robin with the wage rates every year. But it's significant, especially when you're looking at nonprofits and schools, because a lot of those positions are salaried. Take teachers, for example, or nonprofit administrators and executives. You know, those businesses don't have big bucks to meet these wage rates. But there's no exception for the size of the business or industry or even part-time status.
So, like, now every school teacher has to be paid 66 at least. I mean, that's just going to crash school budgets, won't it?
Yeah, if they're salaried, I mean, obviously they can convert them to hourly, but, you know, we're looking at the hourly rate, and that's pretty significant too. So I think that we're going to see more increase in taxes and other costs coming into 2024. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could have told you that, and all I did was stay at a Holiday Inn. Let's talk about paid sick leave, if you would.
Yeah, so this one's interesting. You know, state, we had a minimum requirement before going back to 2015 for 3 days or 24 hours. They bumped it up to 5 days or 40 hours. Not hugely impacting San Diego because we already had that requirement in the city. But say the surrounding cities like North County area or Chula Vista, they're going to now have to bump up the paid sick leave requirement to meet the new minimum. And again, there's no exception for temporary or seasonal employees or part-time. So this is going to be a requirement that has to be given to every single employee that works at least 2 hours.
How about workplace violence? Training? How are we going to train workplace violence out of the workplace?
Yeah, this is interesting. So California passed the first of the kind in the nation. So this is a non-industry specific workplace violence requirement, and it seems to be aimed at sort of mass shootings and stalkers that might be going into the workplace so employers can take out restraining orders. So starting July 1st, there's going to be a new mandatory program where employers are going to have to train employees on how to respond to something that happens in the workplace, how to report something if they see that it's suspicious, and then train their employees and keep records on it. This is going to be part of a larger Cal OSHA requirement for health and safety. And we haven't seen anything like this, you know, in California. So it's hard to tell what it's going to look like. But supposedly they're going to give employers the tools they need in order to comply before the July 1st deadline. But hopefully they do it more than a few days before like they have in the past so that we have more time to prepare.
Is it going to be one of those deals where we're all going to have to sit at our computer and answer a 30-word question?
Probably.
You know, because those are so
I love it
effective
when people
tools.
complain about those and they blame me, like I passed that law.
Yeah. All right. Well, Annie, our next conversation, we'll pick it up with marijuana. You can't test for employees using marijuana at home.
Right. This was actually passed last year. There was a 1-year waiting period to give employers and also health agencies the time to comply, because most health agencies automatically test for marijuana. So they had to remove that from the panel. So that is now off the table. Can't test for it. And if an employee tests positive during their employment because of off-duty use of marijuana, we're not allowed to use that against them. This is trending with what other states are doing in the country. So I don't see this as a huge significant deal. There's exceptions for construction and businesses that are getting federal funding, because still marijuana is not legal under federal law. But this is going to impact most employers in California.
Annie Ellis, thank you for joining us on the second day of the year 2024. I wish you good health to you and yours, and we'll see you down the road, okay?
Thanks, Paul. You too.